but you've learned something or you're winning. I don't care if you're making $1 a day. What could you leave for people behind you? And you can use that chat. It helps more people than you know. Rafe, I was impressed with Rafe of how many pools and assets he, and that's a lot to manage. But I know Rafe was saying, I'm actually at the point where my investment income exceeds my active income. So that to me is financial freedom. If your burn is only $2,000 a month because you're living lean and you don't need things and you're making $2,500 a month, you're by definition financially free. You don't have to wait to 60 to retire, because most people wait till 60, 70 to retire and use their little nest egg to hopefully make them to cover their income until they die. And they're taking a bet on living to 90, which is potentially true or potentially untrue. We don't know. Our time could be up tomorrow. So with that said, I'm like, to me, the definition of financial freedom is where leveraged or passive or, investment income exceeds my active income. So I'm basically retired at that point, and I can choose to do things and work on things and increase my income and increase my investment income on a day-to-day basis. That's where we all want to get to. So Rafe, congrats on hitting that. Let's keep it going. Steve, I know, went from 25 to $80 a day. Congrats, Steve. Really wicked, brilliant dude. Noah, 2 straight weeks of $10 earnings. Good. So you applied for your first thing. Gordon, I saw you today in a great breakdown. Thank you for doing this. You're at $25 a day, Quest 3. We aim for 10% or so a month is a good number to want to hit. So when I look at these, I'm like, okay, you've seen some price appreciation, but also 3 weeks in Nakomatic was 10%. So what's that? That's a 12, 13% return for the month on average. 10% in 19 days is about a 15% return. 4% in 10 days is about a 15% return. This is a 30% return, almost. It will be. And this is underperforming, which is in your breakdown. You were like, now I got to make a decision. What do I want to do with this? And that's great. You're running a business, and some products are going to be more profitable than others. And you have to make decisions on which products to swap out in your product suite and which projects to invest in and which projects to research. And so you're running a business. Congrats on that. Julie, I see you. You keep winning week by week, and there's a dozen or more other wins. We just don't share them all here because it would take us forever to get through. So congrats to those doing the work. Please do the work. It's the greatest gift. Who cares about me? It's the greatest gift you can give yourself. And I think a business that's half-assed, you may as well just not start the business. And I'm being a little brutal here, but it's true, because I was in the entrepreneurship space for a long time, and I saw people being like, oh yeah, I want to start a business. And they would go half in. It's like, it's never going to work. It's never going to work if you go half in on anything. Those are the people who set New Year's goals, and by March they're like, well, you didn't actually want to decide, and side is Latin for to cut off. And so pesticide, to cut off, it's definite. You have cut it off. Suicide, it's a full cut off, whatever has side in it. And so a lot of people say, I've decided to do this, but they actually didn't decide. They're just kind of hemming and hawing. A decision is a full body, hell yes, I'm never going back. And this is a decision. And you're either going to decide to create an investment income, an investment portfolio, or you're going to dabble. And it's okay. You can dabble for a few months, but you just won't see accelerated results. You won't see the kind of results that from $25 to $80, Steve is not dabbling. He has made a decision, and it's clear as day to me, or else he'd be stuck at $25 a day. And so a decision is a full body, hell yes, I'm never going back. It's decided. And I think most people, they make hundreds of decisions per day, but they're not actually decisions. They're just kind of like, merp. And I'm being a little brutal, but this is the stuff I need to hear, because all of us in here are successful, and sometimes in our own way. And success can sometimes blind us from, we're all smart in here, or else you wouldn't be here. And I'm not saying book smart. And so just be aware of that. A decision is like, you feel it in your bones. You wake up and you have freaking passion running through your blood. If I've made a decision, anything other than that is you're working towards the decision. And sometimes people can spend 3 years working their way up to a decision, and that's fine, but that's 3 years you just never get back. So either we decide now that we're freaking all in and we're going to take this seriously, or we just keep delaying the results. That's it. Is that all right?
Lucas,
is that a little brutal? It's said with love.
No, Lucas, that's so important and so valuable. And what you were saying just now about making a decision to go all in on your DeFi business, man, we need to hear more about that, because when you compare DeFi to other types of businesses, I can speak from my own personal experience. Like, I have an Amazon FBA business that did over 6 figures over the last 12 months, and I've got a 70% margin. But my DeFi business in the first 2 months is already yielding me more than the last 2.5 years of in profit than the last 2.5 years of work that I put into my Amazon business.
People don't get it.
So it's just, it happens so fast if you make the decision to dedicate yourself to it.
Yep. Yeah, no, I just soak it all in. But yeah, no, I mean, we've talked about this countless times in terms of DeFi as a business that's instant. You're making a return, a yield instantly. Now, it may not always be profitable. I'm not saying everything's going to be a win, but when you put liquidity into a liquidity pool, you're instantly making capital. You're instantly making return, as opposed to, and I make this reference a lot. Like I ran a nobody knows this about me, but I ran I started my own athletic apparel business when I was in college, and I loved it. However, I've spent money on a whole bunch of different things, on inventory. I still have some of the athletic apparel. I mean, I love it, but I still have some of that. And so it's just kind of sitting there collecting dust. So that business, I put, I don't remember how much, 10 grand into that business, and made some great capital and all that. But it took a lot of effort, a ton of effort. It was a blast to run, but gosh darn, that was a challenging thing to do. It was like my first kind of business venture. I had that entrepreneurial itch in college, but like when I think about that in comparison to DeFi, man, this stuff's fun. David and I talk about it all the time. Kind of like sit there, and when we're on a call together, we're just like, man, we're doing this full time. We're in DeFi, like doing this stuff, and it is so much fun. And so I don't know, not that everything's going to be a walk in the park, but man, like it is exciting to just to have access to this type of technology at this point.
And we should hear the opposite side of that too. It's like
for sure,
from Jeff and from Justin, it's. Because I'm the same way. I'm a forever optimist. So I'm always optimistic. When something like bad happens in my life, it's about a 24-hour event, and then I totally forget about it. It's in a book somewhere for a lesson, but I literally don't dwell on it. You'll never hear me talk about it. I don't share my woes if I'm with buddies. Like, I'm just like, dude, what's the future look like? I'm excited. And we quickly forget how difficult. So like, I don't really dwell on it. Took me 3 years to make $1. And then when I start thinking about it, all the pain I went through and like the heartache, and like the feeling like a loser for 3 years, you forget about that, but it's true. And so in DeFi, it might not be 3 years to make a profit, but it might be a few weeks or a few months to learn it. And so we quickly forget about that, but it can be a painful learning process. We want to make your journey obviously a little bit easier and better and help you avoid mistakes, but you're going to doubt yourself sometimes. And those who quit, they quit on themselves, and those who don't and keep trying, eventually you get it. And I know the feeling of like feeling kind of like a loser because you effed something up and you clicked the wrong button and someone stole your money, or it's just not working. And Justin over here is like, yo, I've made $60 million. And you're like, you freaking buffs. Like, what's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. Some things take time and you'll get there.
Yeah. I always just relate it back to traditional stock market programming in my brain that 12% a year is killing the game, right? It's like, if you can make 12% a year, right? And I am earning that on staked SOL. Like, I'm just like, whoa, like and SOL is appreciating. And so not am I only making 12%, I'm more, it's more than that. And that's just one of the little things that I'm doing. So whenever because I do get frustrated. Like, come on, guys. Of course I get frustrated with some of the investments. Man, like, this is hurting. This isn't working well. Or, oh, I sent that to the wrong wallet. I lost those funds. Like, all of those things do happen. When I kind of compare that to what I could potentially be doing, is just putting money in that 401k and the Roth IRA and just kind of letting it sit. I mean, you can do that. I still do that side of investing. But anyways, not to go down a tangent. I just like to compare it to what I had done previously before I really got into DeFi. And it just still blows my mind every time I relate those back. I don't know if you guys have that feeling as well.